Hey there, it's Kathy Howes with Be Creative with Kathy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I love to show you videos with some tips and tricks and techniques to use my Stampin' Up! Products. So before we get started on today's card, and I'm really excited to share this with you, I think this will be a little bit unique and fun, but I want to tell you what's going on with Stampin' Up! This last week, this is all of June's specials, and I'll show you a sneak peek at the next stuff, but in June, the designer series paper is 15% off. So there's a bunch of them that are all 15% off. So if you need designer series paper, now's the time to stock up to get that discount. There's a starter kit special. Now the starter kit is usually $99 and you get $125 worth of product in there, free shipping, a free paper pumpkin, all your business supplies, a case of catalogs. It just is packed with stuff, but the special now is you still pay the $99 with free shipping, although you do pay tax, but you get $155 worth of product in your starter kit rather than $125. So if you ever thought about being a demonstrator, whether you're an active demonstrator like me that does classes and videos and camps and all that, or if you just want the discount to be a hobbyist, there's the Stampin' Up! Starter kit is a great deal now. So then, oh wait, here goes the cat. Don't see his shadow. There he goes, he's out. Okay, then right now, well, in that starter kit, I should go that way. In the starter kit, demonstrators can order early, online exclusive, so they give us like a sneak peek or a little bit of product that you can order early. The rest of it will go live to customers July 6th. Here's some of that stuff that'll be on there, and then there'll be more. So this is just a little sneak peek of what will be available July 6th. Online exclusives only, but you can put this stuff in your starter kit if you decide to join before the end of June. Okay, and the other stuff in the starter or on the online exclusive, I'm excited about. I can hardly wait to place that order. Then for me personally, if you place an order at my online store, the link is below. I'll send you some catalog tabs. Doesn't matter what the order is, or if you order something off my blog, all my beloved retired Stampin' Up! Products are on my blog for sale too. So if you place an order there, or if you place an order at the online store, I'll send you the catalog tabs, and this is what they look like. The cool thing about this year's catalog tabs is they sent you these blank ones, and then I just took a marker and wrote on there and added the extra ones that I wanted in my catalog. So that's a way to get a hold of those. All right, enough talk. Let's move on to card making. So last Saturday, Stampin' Up! Had a demonstrator event called Creativity Now. And we all got together via, it was an online platform. I'm not sure about that technical stuff, but we went on there and we made cards together. And they taught us some techniques and some tips and stuff like that. And I thought it would be nice this week to share that with you. So what Stampin' Up! Did was way in advance, they gave us the measurements for all the cardstock, which looked like this, which was pretty nice. And then you could pre-cut your cardstock and be all ready. They told us that we're going to use this translucent floral stamp set, oops, not those dies, and the coordinating dies. Now this you can't even get yet. This is going to be in the upcoming mini catalog, so that'll be later. But the demonstrators that signed up for Creativity Now were able to purchase the bundle sooner. So I of course went ahead and purchased the bundle. I do love it, and I love showing it to you today. And then we are going to use the deckled dies, which I have fallen in love with those too. Okay, so let's do some stamping. So then the day of the event, Stampin' Up! Gave us these things, and these are printouts with all the measurements, all the supplies. It's a really nice, it has a picture of the card. This is what we're going to make today, like that. Okay, so I'm going to try really hard. I'm not very technical, but I'm working on it to put all these flyers on my blog. So if you want to remake the card or print out the measurements, or maybe you're a demonstrator and you want to hold a class, and it's all there for you. Look how nice that is. But anyway, and I wish, that's the last thing I wish I would have remembered is, I know this lady's name was Susie Spinarzo. I couldn't get her last name, but I'll try to find a link to the demonstrators that demonstrated or made the cards too. Okay, so we're going to start with this card. I am going to stamp one thing that's for the next card, and that's just because I think it needs to dry. because another thing Stampin' Up! Did was we did one card that was a simple card and then one card that was a little stepped up. And I want this stuff to dry, and since we're going to stamp on that vellum, I want to give it as much time to dry. We'll probably still have to hit it. Whoops, I put my stamps already on their blocks. We'll probably have to hit it with the heat gun too, or the heat tool too, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp those first. I'm going to use Berry Burst, that new color that everybody loved that came back from a while ago. I'm going to make sure it's inked up really nice. I am going to go ahead now. When you have a new ink pad and distinctive stamps, usually your ink pad is so happy and juicy you need to stamp it off to get a better image. But since I'm stamping on vellum, no, but look how inky that. I'm going to stamp it off. Watch, I'll probably be sorry later, but we'll see. I'm going to hold it there, let that ink hit the paper. No, I think that looks pretty good, so I am going to stamp off. Yay! All right, and then the next one I'm going to do is the flower that's a little bit smaller. Here, let me put that stamp set in so you can see it. I'm using, I did this stamp, and now I'm going to use this one with a little bit of Poppy Parade. And when I opened my Poppy Parade, I was shocked at how happy and inky he is, so I'm going to do the same thing with him. And then I'm going to just set that aside, prep that for us, and let that dry, and we'll use that when I do the stepped up version of the card. Okay, let it there, nobody touch it so it doesn't get all smeared, because I'll show you on my first card, oh my goodness, did I learn the hard way. Okay, I'm going to wash or clean my stamp here. This is just a chamois that I took and cut in half, and then I like to store it in a little plastic bag. And then if I go somewhere to stamp or something, I can take it with me. It keeps it dry or wetter a little bit longer, but to me the smaller one is easier to use. Okay, enough chat. So we're going to start with a piece of basic white cardstock that is, it's 5 1/4 by 4, but we're going to cut it down anyway. So a big scrap would work too. And I'm going to take that Poppy Parade ink and that bigger flower, and I'm going to stamp it down. Now this time I'm going to use full strength because we're not on vellum, and I want it to be bright and vibrant. So I'm going to take it about here. Yeah, that looks good. And stamp that down. Let that ink sink into the paper. Look how pretty that flower is. And then I'm going to do the same thing with that smaller flower, and I'm going to kind of look, I kind of stamped it so this side of the flowers with this side of the flower, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm going to do that same thing like that. There we go. Now while I have these two stamps out, I'm going to bring in my card base. But look, those are really dark. Maybe I should have stamped off. I don't know. It'd be pretty both ways. But let me bring in my card base, which is also Poppy Parade. It's just 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to fold it with my bone folder, get that nice fold on there. And then I'm going to take, and I'm going to start with the bigger flower, and I'm going to just stamp here around the edge. And really, I'm going to take and stamp in different directions, just this big flower in 4 corners. Maybe something like that. And then with that little flower, boy, he is so happy. My ink pad is really juicy. There we go. And now I could take a plastic spoon or something and scrape some of that ink off, but now I'll just use it until it gets less inky. But look how pretty, there we go, to have that border around with those flowers. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this piece now. Well, wait, before we put away that ink, I have, this is a tip I want to show you, I have a scrap of basic white here, and I've cut it so I know that it's 4 inches this way, and the measurements on Stampin' Up! Sheet said to measure at 3/8 of an inch. Now when it gets to 3/8 of an inch and you're trying to count all those tiny little marks up here, I give up. When it says 3/8 of an inch or something close like that, I just go to the 1 centimeter. So I'll put my paper over here at that 1 centimeter. See the little line right there? And that's what's nice about Stampin' Up's trimmer, is it has both the measurements, the imperial and metric. Metric? That sounds funny, but I think that's right. And then I can just cut that down to that size that easy. Okay. Then we're going to stamp on here with this saying that says, you're the best, in that Poppy Parade. Take it like this. And I'm going to just try to get it in the center. I might get my head in the camera because I want to get it straight on that little scrap of paper. Last 2 times I did it, I did pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not perfect straight and it's not perfect centered, but I think it's going to work. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, let that dry. And then I'm going to bring in some garden green ink. Now, since I stamped my flowers full strength, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my stem and my leaves full strength. And that here, bring that back in. I keep moving it out. The stem and this double flower is what I'm going to use. Now, when you have a stamp like this that's a real fine stamp with a great big border on that rubber, let me show you what you need to do so you don't get the edges. And I'll show you that mistake that I made later too, and I learned from messing up. You're going to tap lightly here on your ink pad. Make sure your ink pad's nice and happy and inked. And then you're going to just gently set it on your paper. Don't apply a lot of pressure. Make sure you go straight up and straight down. Let's see, drum roll please. Not a lot of pressure. And look, I still did get that. So let's turn it over. We're going to do it again. Bring in back that poppy. This time I think since I'm going to stamp it off too. So maybe it was a good thing the green didn't cooperate or I didn't get it done. Oh yeah, I like it better stamped off anyway. So nothing like a live video to show you what not to do. Okay, let's try that green again. I'm going to practice this time on my scratch paper and just barely. I even applied too much pressure. There we go. Just hardly any pressure at all. Tap, tap here, and then just barely pressure here. Yay, so much better. Then I'm going to turn my stamp over so my stem goes the other way and just going to practice again. See, got too much rocking. Too much pressure, little tiny pressure, and there we go. Look how pretty it turned out now. So much better. So careful when you're stamped with a fine line like that, that there's no pressure, you have a very light hand. Okay, then with our little leaves. And now this one, since my stems are crossed here, instead of having, like the picture, the stem or the leaves are going the other way, I think, and I'm going to stamp them off. Let's see. Yep, I want to stamp them off. I'm going to put my leaves right here. And look how pretty. Even though I missed it too a little bit on the stems, I still think that looks really pretty there. Okay, so now it's time to go ahead and finish up this card. So I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. Here's the big boy and those deckled dies. In my plates here. I hope you can see. I'm going to use plate number 1, platform number 1, plate number 2, yucky chewed up cutting plate on the back, and I know you can't see it, but I'm going to, that's what I've laid down. And then I'm going to lay down my paper. Here, let me move it around so you can at least see some. There it is. Okay, and then the third to the biggest. Now I'm going to be, let's see if it was the third. Yeah. That one's too big. It's the third from the biggest deckled die, like this. I'm going to lay that. Nope, I am going to go back to the other one. Never mind, second to biggest. And that way, I get all of my flowers in there. That's the cool thing about having the paper. You can cut whatever size of dies that you want on there. Okay, and then we're going to lay that last cutting plate on top. Look through, make sure it still looks good. I think it does. And I'm going to run it through there. Ooh. And now look how pretty that piece is there with that deckled edge. Okay, we're going to throw our card together. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this piece. I don't know if you watched my video yesterday when I was putting together my club cards. And here I found my dimensionals because I couldn't find them the whole time, and now ask me if I can find them now. They should be, there they are. Here we go. So I don't have to cut edges and make the video a little faster. I'm going to put 5 on here, each corner, and then I like to put 1 in the center so the center, or what I call the tummy of my card, doesn't sag. And just like that, got easy, turn, and set that down there. And look how pretty so far. We're going to take this piece and then just with a pair of paper snips, I'm going to trim it like that, and then trim this one the same direction, and then we'll put that up on some dimensionals. And then set that right here. There we go. Now, the one thing, oh, I'm not done. The last thing we did, which I think is just as important as the other parts, is we need some sparkle, gems, dimension on there. So I'm going to use these, what are these called? Classic matte dots. They were on the supply list too, and they use these off-white ones or the very vanilla ones. And I'm going to just scatter those. Hold on, I got some scraps of my paper on my card. And I'm going to just scatter 3 of those along my card here. Just like that. And look how pretty. And simple. You saw it was just basic stamping. If you wouldn't have messed up on the stems, it would have been even faster. But look how pretty that card is. So now it's time to do the stepped up version of the card. So let's do that all one more time. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to take and fold on that score line here. Same card base. We're going to stamp around the edges with those 2 stamps again. Just like I said, I did this one in the corner, kind of moving him around. This one. Also, why Stampin' Up! Was during breaks and giving us a chance to clean up our stamps and stuff and get ready for the next one, they would give us some trivia. And guess what was the the best, or the highest selling bundle, I guess you would call it, from the new catalog? So if you're familiar with Stampin' Up's catalog, can you guess which was the highest selling bundle in the new catalog? I was kind of surprised because I thought for sure it would have been the Daisy. Now I should have looked up you know, catalog pages and stuff like that, but I didn't. But the Daisy bundle I thought would be #1. Come to find out, the Daisy bundle was not #1. It was the Countryside bundle, and I happen to have that stamp set. So you recognize the Countryside bundle like this, and then it has the dies that cut all of those out. That was the #1 seller from the new catalog. Okay, so there's just a little bit of trivia that we got while we were making our cards. Okay, let's go on. We're going to stamp this again, although you know, oh, and I cleaned the wrong stamp. I cleaned the little one instead of the big one because we're going to change colors. But we're going to do this card again, only we're going to do a little bit of a stepped up, make it a little bit fancier, a little bit more layers. Got that all clean because I stamped the wrong color. And this time we're going to bring back in that berry burst. So I'm going to stamp the big flower in berry burst over here, same place like I did before. And dang it, I should have stamped it off. I think it's a little bit too dark. So I'm going to stamp until my ink pad isn't quite so happy. I'm going to stamp him off. There we go. That looks better. And then in that Poppy Parade, we're going to stamp the smaller flower. You'll have to let me know in the comments too if you were surprised, as I am, that that Countryside was the #1 seller from the catalog. Okay, then we're going to bring in that green again. Stamp that scary stem. Practice once, just like that. Barely touching the paper is what works with that stem. But I still practice because I think practice makes better. And I got a little bit over here. I'm going to just make that work so I don't have to stamp it all again. You don't have to watch. I'll put the stems here, which I put my stamp set away. bring that back out. I'm going to stamp my stems over that and see if it works to cover most of it up. No. Sorry about that. We're going to have to stamp it all again because that darn stem. Oh, and I can't stamp it again. Never mind, we already stamped on the back. It'll be just fine. Okay, so we got it all stamped. We just need to stamp that greeting. So again, I'm going to stamp "You're the best." There we go. All right, set that aside to dry. Only you remember earlier in the video when we stamped those 2 flowers on vellum. Let's see if they're dry. I'm going to set it on my paper here. Now this is ink side down. And if the ink, yeah, see that poppy prate is still wet, so I'm going to just hit it really quick with my heat tool. I don't want that to smear at all, and it will smear if it's not dry. And I can tell you that from experience when I show you the card that I made yesterday where I smeared it. Okay, let's try it now and see if it's dry. Yes, there, now it's dry. I'm still going to try to make sure my fingers don't touch those flowers. But out of the dies that coordinate with the stamp set, there's dies like this that work without the stamp set, and then there's dies like this that cut out those images of the stamp set. Now I'm going to do a video tomorrow. We made 3 different cards at the event with Stampin' Up! On Saturday, so I'm going to try, well, I'm going to succeed and do a video today with 1 card. I'll come back and do a video tomorrow of another card, and then I'll come back on Thursday and do the 3rd card. So hopefully you find this interesting and you want to come back and watch and see what they look like. So I'm going to put my stamp, and you probably can't see, but trust me, I'm going to line up those dies, which I was shocked. They're pretty easy to line up. Usually when you have flowers like that, it's hard to figure out which side is which, but with these dies, it wasn't hard at all. There we go. Okay, and we're going to cut those out of that vellum that hopefully will not smear. Look how pretty they are. Like this. Oh, and then while I'm at it, I'm going to do the same thing with the decal dies. Now this time, remember I used this big die like this. Only this time I'm going to add the one just 1 size smaller and make a border like that. And then I am going to use a little bit of washi tape to hold it down to make sure it stays where I want it. I can find the end. Brand new roll of washi tape. Do you remember this washi tape? It came with the one that was the petals. That was a long time ago. Love that washi tape. I probably still have some of it. Alright, we're going to hold this together and onto our paper, and then I'm going to run this through my die cut machine here, and you'll see it come through here. And this is going to be just a little stepped up, and this technique that Rosie showed us, I thought was really, really pretty. So I'm going to take those 2 pieces, we don't need this outside piece, but these 2 here, carefully remove that washi tape, put those away. Then I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to hold those back together with some dimensionals. So I'm laying them down exactly like they were, and then put some dimensionals on the back, on the corner, holding those together, one in the tummy. I am going to add some dimensionals on the side just to make sure that those 2 frame pieces stay together nicely. There, remove all the backs. And then look how pretty that looks with that frame piece on there. Okay, and we're going to lay this down right here on our card, just like we did before. Take the same thing, cut that little tag at this side and at this side. Put that up on dimensionals. Wait, I missed this dimensional. It's going to show on the front, and I really don't want that. Let me fix him real quick. There we go. Leave this right here, maybe over so that stamp shows just a little less. Make sure if you do that you re-stamp it and take the time. Then with these two little pieces of vellum here, I'm going to just take a glue dot on the the center part of the back. And in fact, so I touch this even less in case I smear it. I really don't want to smear it. I want to give it lots of time to dry. I'm going to take that glue dot and just set it right there on my paper. Same thing on that purple one. I'm going to kind of set it in the middle where there's a lot of stamping, like it's busy stamping. Right here. And then just set those flowers right over the top. And look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? And then last thing is, of course, we need those gems again. So I'm going to bring in those, put them down just like I did last time. And just like that. And there you go. Isn't that pretty? Now let me show you the cards that I made yesterday where I learned my lesson. This one turned out pretty good. Look how pretty that one is. This is the one we made today. This is the one I made yesterday. And then this one, look here. I had my pretty card all made, and this is where I smudged it. Oh, and look, I even forgot we did the vellum with the leaf too, which I didn't do on this card. So I should have done that too. The one thing that Stampin' Up! Doesn't do, and it's probably because of the time restraints that they have, is they don't do the inside. But trust me, I'll go and cut a piece of basic white. I'll stamp a flower and a leaf, and maybe a happy birthday sentiment on the inside, or maybe a congratulations. I think this would be a great card to send to my downline on their Stampiversary. So anyway, there you go. I hope you like this idea. I'll see you back here tomorrow with the next one. And if you give me just a few minutes, I'm going to try and put all of Stampin' Up's directions onto my blog, and the link will be below in the description. All right, thanks for putting up with me. A little bit longer video today. It's always a pleasure stamping with you. Have a great day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.